For your final technology safety project, you are going to be creating a web page within your website that you've already created on Google Sites. Down here you'll see the 7 required elements within your web page. So your first step is to open up your website using Google Sites. So you're going to go to sites.google.com and you will see your portfolio that you've already started. The next step here is to use this icon up here in the top right to add a new page, and you're going to simply call this one Tech Safety. And it's a regular web page, and leave it at the top level. We're just going to click Create. And it will not only add a link on your left menu on your navigation bar, but also up here at the top. Now, to start this, you're going to make sure you take a look at what your 7 requirements are, and this will show you kind of a demonstration of how this could be laid out. Keeping in mind that it doesn't need to look exactly like this, but it should include all of the requirements. So this first requirement was a technology or an internet safety article. And for the purposes of this, we'll assume that I've already found an article on the internet, and it is called How to Keep Yourself Safe. Online. Alright, and that's the title of the article. I'm going to go ahead and bold and underline this sort of section header. And this is actually where I would then also type in a summary of the article, so that somebody doesn't necessarily need to read the article. And then also the requirements say that I need to hyperlink to that article. Now the easiest way would be to go to the article and highlight the web address of the actual article as you were reading it and simply copy it. Now I'm going to go ahead and just type in the web address of this article. So I'm going to highlight the title of the news story, click the link button up here. And this is not a sites page, it's a web address that I need to go to. And this is where I would actually paste the web address that I copied. I'm going to have to do a Control V because many times a right click doesn't necessarily work. So I'm going to just type it in here. Alright, now I'm actually going to go ahead and select down here that I want this link to be opened in a new window. Click OK, and now that has been hyperlinked. If I want to emphasize that, I could make it bold. If I wanted to, I also want to make sure that the section header stands out a little bit, so maybe I'll make that a little bit bigger. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do, according to the directions or the requirements, is a top 5 tips to stay safe online. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that in order right here. Underline that, and I may just go ahead and do this as either a bulleted or a numbered list. And I'm just going to, for this example, type in just some generic filler tips, because I would like you to come up with your own tips. You can either use some online resources if you're having trouble, although hopefully after reading some of the stories and reading some of the advice up to this point during our previous activities, you'll be able to come up with top 5 tips you would actually tell. Just pretend it's a younger sibling who's just starting to use the internet. You want them to remain safe online, so this is where you would say, okay, well, these are the 5 tips that I would have them follow just to stay safe. Now this is also not to say that you can't have more than 5 tips on here, but just to kind of keep it reasonable, sort of try to limit to 5 or 6, at least 5, especially if you're getting tips from a different website. You really consolidate to what you feel are the top 5. All right. Our next section here is the cyberbullying section. And I would also actually go ahead and make this kind of the same format that you created for this title up here. So I made this 12 bold underline, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Make it 12 bold and underline. And that will allow me to kind of create sort of some universal look here. And really what you're going to do is the same thing you did here for the internet safety article, except this is going to be an article or a resource about cyberbullying with the summary as well as 5 tips over here on the left side. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that in here real quick. Now we have a couple of other components we need to add to this. If we're taking a look at the directions, we are now down to step 5 or component 5 here, where we need to find an additional article, so a third article, dealing with something to do with online footprint, identity theft, phishing, computer viruses, and each one of these, if you haven't noticed, has to do with one of the previous 3 assignments we've done during this unit. So this is kind of open to you to find an article about this. You don't need to come up with a tips page for this, but this article itself should probably be a tips or a helpful resource for someone to go to. Now, when we go back to our page here, this is where you can kind of make a design choice. You can either continue to work your way down and continue with this same design where we'll have sort of a larger font for this section, or you can start playing with your layout here. A possibility is flipping to a 2-column where you can have these items on the left side, and then over on the right side is where you can continue your next unit. So I'm going to go ahead and do the online footprint article or tips, and continue like I had over here, adding some information about that particular article. This is probably also a good opportunity to start putting in an image. The requirements say 1 to 2 images, and I wouldn't do any more than that, otherwise it tends to make this page look a little bit busy. If you haven't inserted an image on Google Sites yet, you just go to Insert Image, and it will allow you to either upload an image that you have or to use a web address of an image you find. The easiest way to do that would be to go to Google Images and search for an image that you want to use within here. So I'm going to search for global footprint or internet footprint, and see what comes up here. Digital footprint, possibly. There's nothing on Wikipedia. Let's go to images and see what we can come up with. So here's actually a great one that it says exactly what I need it to say. So I'm going to view that image. This is the image. This is the web address for that image. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Go back to my web address here. Paste it. It pops up as a preview, which is perfect. And there it is. And I'm actually going to go ahead and shrink it down, use a medium, and center align that. Puts that right in there. Goes perfectly with that online footprint article. Now the final thing that you need to do is to insert a news story or an article or a video that has to do with any of these topics. Now this is a challenge, especially with the school filter, but if you can find a article, so I'm going to go ahead and go online and first search for a video that has something to do with one of these items. Okay, so here's a article that I found on YouTube. Again, this may be something you need to do from home if you if you can't find something on the educational version of YouTube or on a different news website. But the key to this is you need to get what's called the Embed Code. Now on YouTube, it's easy. You simply click right here where it says Share, and you can actually see a little button here that says Embed. Now, it's a little bit different when it's on YouTube, because YouTube allows you to just simply copy and paste this web address. And since YouTube is owned by Google, if I go back to my tech safety, I can go ahead and insert, and it actually has a specific insert option for YouTube. Now, inserting from a different resource requires a little bit extra work. That's where you would have to do an HTML box, and that's where you would copy and paste that embed code. But if it's a YouTube, you simply click on YouTube. I'm going to paste in that web address I got. I can see a little preview of it. I choose the size, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And you can see right here I've got my YouTube video. It's a little bit too big, so I might actually want to go ahead and go in and shrink the size down just a little bit. So instead of 480, I'm going to make it maybe 450 by 270, and it will then fit a little bit better. Perfect. When I click save, you can see now I have a full web safety website where I have a picture, I have my video, I've got my articles and hyperlinks. These hyperlinks, for the purposes of this particular example, don't actually go to real websites. So if you're looking at the sample of this, you'll see that those links don't work. Alright, so that is a tutorial on how to do the technical aspects of your tech safety final project.